Don't miss a beat, join the notification squad by clicking that bell. You'll get notified every time I upload a video, and be sure to join our Discord to talk and get help with your code. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the source code. My name is Deshaun, and in this video, we are going to be recreating the Flint-Knock pistol from Fortnite. So the Flint-Knock pistol from Fortnite basically allows you to shoot, get pushed back, and do some damage to people. So let's go ahead and drop down here. So if we shoot, you can see here that we get pushed back. It shoots out a bow and arrow, which has way too many particles on it, but you can feel free to change those particles as much as you want. So you can see here that we get pushed back, and how I've done this is basically just using what we learned in the last video, but sort of reversing it and making it shoot us backwards, and also added a little bit of a Y velocity here. So that way it pushes us up and then pushes us back. So that way we don't just shoot and slide on the ground. We actually get pushed up in the air a little bit like you do in Fortnite. And you can see here that we have a little reload thing. If you want to get fancy, you can go ahead and do the damage values here, but I'm not going to get that fancy in doing the custom reloading and stuff like that. I'm just going to use a timer and using instant and all that. But also, if you sneak and you shoot, you don't move like in Fortnite. So yeah, let's dive right in and get started. So I am still using the window capture, so you're not going to see a lot of like my right clicks and stuff like that. Like this window's open right now, but I'll walk you through some of those things and when those menus pop up. But I do like using the window capture a little bit more, so that way you guys don't see everything I'm doing on my desktop, and that way I can move things from one folder to another folder, and you don't see everything inside my folders. Not that I have anything that needs to be hidden, but nonetheless, I do like keeping all that separate. So let's go ahead and do a right click here on the sidebar. We're going to do new module. If you have Minecraft 4 IntelliJ, go ahead and do it, select it, and we're going to do a Spigot plugin. Our group ID is going to be com.tscforum, and this is going to be LC02. Go ahead and get next. LC02 for our folder. Great. And that's the wrong backslash. There we go. And let's finish. All right. And our project is now created. So we're going to set up our main class here first, just because it's already here. So let's go ahead and say this .get server .get plugin manager .register events. It's going to be a new Flintlock Pistol. If I could type new Flintlock Pistol, and it's going to be registered by this class, or our main class. We're going to go ahead and create this new class, Flintlock Pistol. We'll get back to that. Then we're going to go ahead and create arrow trail creator. And then let's just go ahead and create that. And inside of here, we're going to go ahead and say a new bucket runnable. And we're going to say if bucket dot get if bucket. Oh, we might help if we do the actual setup here. So public void run. Now we can go ahead and say if bucket dot get online players dot size is equal to 0. We're going to go ahead and return, or we could just continue if it's not equal to 0. So let's go ahead and grab this. Let's go ahead and say, yeah. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go ahead and click enter, and we'll go ahead and say for player. This is going to be bucket.getOnlinePlayers. Then we want to go ahead and get the world. So we're going to say world is going to be player.getWorld. Next, we're going to go ahead and say for entity arrows. This is going to be world.getEntities by class, and it's going to be arrow.class. Let's go ahead and import that. And then we want to go ahead and say if arrow is not on the ground, or is not dead, and arrow is not on the ground, we want to go ahead and spawn a particle. So we're going to go ahead and say particle.dust options, because we're going to be using redstone because you can color it and we can make gray smoke. And also, I believe redstone is like one of the only particles that doesn't really have an animation to it, which is very, very helpful. So then we're going to go ahead and say color.white, and we'll say the size of that is going to be 2. Then let's go ahead and say player.spawn particle, particle.redstone, and then we're going to go ahead and say arrow.get location, and then we're going to go ahead and add. Oh, just kidding. We don't need to add there. I don't know why I said add. And then we want to go ahead and say count 10 and then dust options. Cool. And then we'll just go ahead and say return. And then we will run this task timer. We'll say this, and we'll run that every tick. Cool, that is done. So let's head on over to our Flint-Knock Pistol class. Okay, so in this class, we're gonna go ahead and create a private item stack, which will be our actual Flintlock or Flint-Knock item. Let's fix that casing. So that'll be Flint-Knock item. And then we wanna go ahead and create a private final map, which we will store a UUID and an instant, or the time. Now we're going to go ahead and call this a cooldown map. That's going to equal a new hash map. And we made that final, by the way. Important step there, so make that final. Now we're going to go ahead and say public Flint. I keep saying Flintlock, but it's Flint-Knock. I don't know why I keep saying Flintlock. Flint-Knock Pistol. Flint-Knock Pistol. Okay, public Flint-Knock Pistol. It's kind of a tongue twister, if we're being honest here. And then in here, whenever we initialize this class, it's going to create a new item stack, which is going to be our gun, which is just going to be a stick. But if you're going to be doing the custom damage values, you probably want to use a tool, and by probably I mean you have to use something that can take damage. So just keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and say flintlock.get item meta. Then we're going to go ahead and say item meta set display name. Sorry, I kind of skipped over a few things there, but basically we're just setting the item meta for the item here. So nothing too crazy complex. If you've watched any of my previous tutorials, you kind of know what I'm doing through here. If not, I would suggest going back and sort of understanding what those are. And then here we're going to go ahead and add an enchantment. We're going to ignore level restrictions. Then we're going to go ahead and add one more thing, which is going to be to remove the item flag that hides, or add item flags. That's what we want. We don't want to remove, we want to add item flags. Right? Yeah. We want to add item flags. And then we will just go ahead and set the item meta, which is just going to be item meta. Cool. Okay, now let's get into a little bit more of the beef of this. Let's go ahead and create our shoot method. So we'll go ahead and say private void shoot, which is going to take a player. We're going to go ahead and say if player is not sneaking, we want to just go ahead and say vector. And that's the wrong vector. I always do that. Vector. We want the bucket vector. I don't know what just happened there. Okay, so we want the bucket vector. That's going to be direction equals player.get location .get direction. We want to go ahead and say player set velocity. It's going to be the direction. We're going to add. This is where we're going to be adding that little y bounce, which is actually going to be a negative 0.2. We want a slight bounce. You feel free to add as much or as little as you want, but you do want a slight y velocity, so that way when they press it and they get shot backwards, they don't just slide a couple like pixels on the ground, which is what will happen if you don't do this. We want them to actually be raised up enough so that the game can push them outwards. And like I said, feel free to do this as much as you want. And we're adding the -2 because we're going to multiply this overall velocity. As soon as I get there, we're going to multiply this overall velocity by -2, so that way it shoots them backwards and gives a little bit of power, so that way they got some oomph behind it. Great. Now that's done, let's just go ahead and say player.play sound. This is going to be sound, or sorry, it's going to be player.getLocation, and this is going to be entity. Well, probably got to put sound first. That helps. Sound entity generic explode. We're going to set the volume at 0.5 F and the pitch at 1. Feel free to play around with this to get it to where you like it, or feel free to add your own custom sounds and get rid of these if you're building this out for a specific game mode. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab the particle dust from the first one here, and we're just going to paste it into here. No sense to rewrite all of this when we kind of already know what we want. So instead of white, we're going to go ahead and do gray. Size we're going to keep at 2. This we're going to change to player.getLocation, and we want to go ahead and say add 0, 1, 0 because we want the smoke to come up by their hand. And then we're going to offset the particles by 0.5 in every direction. And then let's just fix this, and then we're going to have 20 particles spawn. We're going to actually change that to 10 because 20 is a little bit too much. Thanks for the update, IntelliJ. I will get to you as soon as I can. And then let's just go ahead and bring that down there just so you guys can see that. Cool. So we spawn the particle. Now let's go ahead and get the arrow. Arrow is going to be player. And we're going to go ahead and launch the projectile, which is going to be an arrow.class. This is going to be player.getLocation.getDirection.multiply. And then we're going to go ahead and multiply this by 4. Feel free to multiply yours by as little or as much as you want. I want mine to feel more accurate and have not as much fall off in the beginning as regular arrows do. So like I said, feel free to do this however you want. And then we're going to go ahead and get the player's UUID, and we're going to put them inside of our hash map. And we're going to do cooldowns map put UUID and then instant now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say at event handler. It's going to be public void Flint-Knock shoot. And this is going to be a player interact inventory or interact event. And then let's go ahead and say, not that, we're going to say player equals event.getPlayer. We want to say if player.isSneaking and player inventory does not contain Flint-Knock item. Let's go ahead and player.getInventory, and let's add that item to their inventory. Now, you don't have to do this. You can go ahead and make a command, but I'm too lazy to make a command. But feel free to make a command in here where you actually do like /flint or something like that, and you get the Flint-Knock pistol. Like I said, I'm not going to do that just for time's sake and because you guys should know how to do commands. So now let's go ahead and get the action. So we're going to say event.getAction if it equals action.left-click block, or event.getAction.equals action.left-click air. I think I might have said those backwards. Let's go ahead and do a check here. We're going to say if cooldowns map does not contain key the player's UUID, we're going to go ahead and say shoot player. And then we're going to go ahead and say event.setCanceled to true. Else, we're going to say instant last cast equals cooldowns map dot get player dot get unique ID, and now this is going to get their when they last casted it. So you can see here when it shoots, it puts the time in there. So now we can grab it, and we're checking to make sure that they don't exist in there. And if they do, we're gonna come down here and check when they last shot. So let's go ahead and say instant current time, and let's just change that to a capital C. So current time equals instant.now. So the cooldown we're going to set for our 3 seconds here. So we'll say cooldown time, or it probably makes more sense to say reload time because that's what's really happening. And then we're going to say if current time is after last cast plus seconds, and our our reload time, we want to go ahead and allow the player to shoot, and we're going to go ahead and cancel the event. Let's just fix that. Let's bring you back. And then let's return. And then if the cooldown is not after, what we're going to say is we're going to say player.playSound, player.getLocation, sound.block, dispenser fail. And we're going to do volume 1, pitch 1. Then we're just going to send them a very nice, plain message telling them that we are reloading. Cool. So it looks like we got everything in order here. Let's go over to our life cycles in Maven and let's install. Now I will be right back. I'm going to switch over to Minecraft in the server. Okay, let's join our server. It's going to take a couple seconds here for us to load in, as you guys can see on the console there. Okay, so we are in the game. It's going to give us our old one, so let's go ahead and trash that. So let's crouch, left click, and there we go. We got our Flint-Knock pistol. Did I actually name it Knock? Cool. And let's test it out. Look at that, and we spawn some really cool white particles. We get knocked up a little bit. So now if we aim this way, you can see here that we get pushed pretty far. And like I said, feel free to tweak this as oh, we're reloading. Feel free to tweak this as much as you guys want or as little as you guys want. Definitely something really cool if you guys are going to be making any kind of server that is going to be utilizing guns, although the upward velocity there is a little harsh because we are already shooting ourselves upwards. So you might want to lower that just a little bit, but overall, still really fun. So that's all I got for you guys. Be sure to leave a comment on your suggestion for the next episodes, and I can't wait to see them. Also on our GitHub, we have a suggestions thread on there. So go ahead, leave a comment. I have been watching them all, and yeah, I already have like the first 5 or 6 videos of this laid out. Just sort of get the series rolling, and then after that, we should have enough request build up to keep the flow busy for a little while, and hopefully for quite some time, because I think this could be a really, really fun series, and just a way for people to sort of start bringing out their creativeness for what they're building in Minecraft and what they're replicating from other games. So that's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.